Dr. Sinli Dehan, right? He's a
Right.
YouTuber also. He has a video that talks about 5 dangerous health mistakes for people over 60. And I think it applies more so people who are just getting older in general. But it's a good video. I'll link it in the description of what we're doing here. And what we'll do is we'll talk about the 5 things that he talks about and kind of touch on them from our own personal perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing he talks about is believing in the health system. And I understood where he was coming from with this, where we place so much faith in the health system, and the health system is broken. And this is not a knock to the fine people that work in that health system, because to do that day in and day out, you have to be a different type of person, right?
Exactly.
That's not to say that systematics and the people that clog up the machine because of they're either incompetent or they're totally after profit, right?
Right. Right.
Those are a different segment of the fine people that do good work on a daily basis. So this is nowhere knocking that thing. But when you become older, you get placed on the odds of your life expectancy. You start
Yes.
to play the odds of your life expectancy thing, and
Yes.
your background health and things of that nature plays into those odds. So a lot of times, when you're getting diagnosed with certain things, they're basing that diagnosis not only off of what you have, but what is your actual life expectancy. And it shouldn't be that way, but that's the reality of what it is. And he had went into things about getting second opinions and not being so dependent on one source, but take the totality of the information
Mm-hmm.
and make proper decisions for yourself.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, because a lot of times when you do find out something is going on, most times they do suggest, hey, go get a second opinion, because you never know what's, you may get a different diagnosis from somewhere else.
Yeah. The other thing he talks about is uh, more of a cognitive level, keeping your mind fresh and staying mentally grounded as far as um, your day to day,
Mm-hmm.
and not getting stuck into saying that you can't learn. You should be continuously learning, and that's something for your cognitive health.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things he was saying was, basically, continue to learn and continue to challenge your brain, but also turn that fucking TV off and get off the damn TV news. And I know a lot of people that this affects.
Yeah,
Some
me
family
too.
members and friends that they're so
Exactly.
sucked up into TV news and the world coming to an end, and who's doing what as a president and all that bullshit, that they are engulfed in this thing. And that's not good for your quality of life or your health.
Right.
Overall, your mental well-being, that shit is not good, especially as you get older, you know. And really, you got no control over that shit, no ways. So
Right.
you're arguing with the TV about absolutely shit that you can't control, And to me, push the fucking button. Who gives a fuck about all that bullshit they talking about? You
Right.
know, could it affect you one day? Yeah, but even if it did, you ain't gonna be able to do shit about it.
It's
If it's the
still
end
out
of
of
the
your
motherfucker, it's
control.
the end. It's out of your control. It's been a happy life. There you go.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I like that part. I mean, because it's a good video to watch where he did talk about the cognitive of getting older, and he used the analogy of where everybody always say you can't teach your old dog new tricks, but you can. Because I learn something new every day. I'm getting older, and in there he was saying, even though there's a lot of things you can say, and like I'm gonna use this for example, me growing up in the church didn't do a lot of dancing, but they have a lot of hustles out there. And it's like, oh, you ain't supposed to be learning that. But if people would actually look at it, that's a form of exercise.
yeah,
Because if you do one hustle a day, one song will last you almost about, some songs can go, I say about 15 minutes. You done did 15 minutes of cardio and having fun at the same time. And you ain't even realize it. And there's nowhere it say it's a sin to exercise. And it's just how you have it in your mind, how we were raised in the church. Oh no, you ain't supposed to do that, you ain't supposed to do that. But when you look and turn it for a health purpose, it's all good. You getting your heart pumping, you getting the heart rate up, and I mean, it's like it's a form of exercise. And not saying you gotta do it every day, but if you can every other day, 15 minutes, and just start building it up. I mean, because you gotta keep moving. That goes back to your flexibility, have something to do with your mobility, and being mobility keeps your flexibility. I know I messed that up, but you know
no,
what I'm saying.
that's exactly it. It
Yeah,
not only is it a physical exercise, it's a mental exercise, especially if you're learning key steps to a dance routine, right? This step, this step, this that step. You're also using a brain function to what? Memorize the sequence. This step,
exactly.
this way. We're going this way, backwards, forward. We're going side, side to side, right? So your brain has to keep up with that. I'm not a dancer, but I've been in dance classes before, and it's like, okay, once way we're going here, this, that, yeah, right? It causes you to what? Concentrate. It causes you what? To learn, right?
Exactly.
So it's
Exactly.
it's all the same type of idea of keeping physical health and cognitive health. And after you're done, you're usually feeling better for it because why? You exercise not only your mind but your body. No.
Exactly. I may be telling my age here, but I mean, if you could think back and remember, Richard Simmons, pretty much he did the same routines you had to learn, and all he did was dance to the oldies.
Right.
He played old school music that was happy music, and he had you do the same repetitive steps that you had to learn, and it was all in good fun.
Well, before him, I remember Jack LaLanne, and it was the same type of thing. They were getting the housewives up and moving,
Yep,
right?
yep,
Not just dealing with the kids in the house on the day to day. They were getting them up and moving in your own living room. So that with the
exactly.
advent of TV, you didn't have to, go anywhere to do it because they were at home. Okay, there's no reason why you can't stay mentally and physically fit in your own home. So that's
Exactly.
that's that whole concept and ideals. That's where that comes from.
Yeah,
You know.
and that was created for back in the day when you had the real legit stay-at-home wives, stay-at-home mothers. All they did was stayed at home. So they needed some type of movement besides cleaning the house. Is that work? Yeah, that's work, but ain't no fun in it.
Right. And
You know.
that's part of what he talked about for the over 60 people, who are, generally retire or retiring, don't sit at home and now become sedentary, because
Mm-hmm.
I've known plenty of people that once they couldn't go to wherever that physical place they did to do their physical labor and moving all day, once they started sitting at home doing nothing, that's when it creeped in, the things of bad health and mental isolation creeped in to where they died prematurely. You know, they
Yeah.
all of a sudden went out like that. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
so he talks about that, you know, in the video.
He
And
did.
one of the last things he talked about to culminate with that trail that we just set is the mental isolation
Yeah.
that you get. Now you're not at the office interacting with people, you're not interacting with people. Not, I can remember being on that job and several instances, coming across instances of older folks who didn't have that personal interaction with other humans.
Mm-hmm.
We would
Mm-hmm.
have people that call the police department just to talk. You
Mm-hmm.
know, when you show up at assignments and you're like, okay, what's going on? You know, they give you some kind of cockamamie story that ain't nothing. Really, they just wanted some social interaction and talk to somebody who's safer, and feel safe about it without just talking to some stranger on the street. So,
Mm-hmm.
I've had several instances of that. I had people that call the 911 line to just talk, or the non-emergency number just to talk. Why? Because they didn't have that social interaction anymore, or
Yeah.
we always came across people that were estranged from their family,
Mm-hmm.
and now they're old,
Yeah.
and there's been several times I've had to make calls to, hey, are you the niece of Uncle Joe here? Oh,
Right.
about that time Uncle Joe reconnect with the family here, because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's about, I had one guy on the hippie side of the city. His brother lived out in the suburbs, so I call his brother, and talking to his brother, he's like, well, yeah, my brother was, hippie and did his thing, and so we didn't really talk to him like that, and this, that, and the other. And
Right.
I said, like I told him,
You get
I get it. I get it.
right.
I definitely
Right.
understand. I'm not trying to, I don't know you folks. I don't know what your family history is and this, that, and the other.
Right.
But this is your brother.
Mm-hmm.
He's got no other next to kin. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's at that time where somebody in the family needs to kind of step in on this thing, and because he's not functioning well by himself anymore. So, you know, and I hope that the brother found it in his heart to have some empathy and
Right.
you know and do that. But I've had to make those calls several times. They're not fun. you
I bet. I bet.
know, that and death notices. They're never
Oh,
never never
yeah.
fun. You know,
I
but
don't think I could ever do your past work.
okay. But that's what the doctor was. Those are the five things that he was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And and it's basically keeping yourself moving and keeping yourself alert to what's going on with your health and the health system. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and all those other things to follow along. Especially when you get older, because like
Mm-hmm.
I said, they're playing the odds on what your life expectancy is. And part of that, basing the odds of your life expectancy, is what your health history has been.
Right.
You know, so that's
Right.
part of the odds that goes into the bookie's odds on whether you're gonna live or die. Ask any insurance company. about
Yeah,
life
well,
insurance.
they always give you a life expectancy. Oh, well,
Mm,
most men or women don't live past this age, and if you live
mm,
past this age, you got good genes. And I'm like, okay,
mm, mm. And the whole bet is on when you gonna kick the can. Welcome to life insurance.